Since the MiG-29 came out last December, it has perpetually been one of my favorite jets in the game, so naturally when the SMT and F-16C got announced, I assumed they would just be somewhat of a progression of the MiG-29-913 and F-16A, and I assumed that for more or less the same reasons I like the MiG-29-913 so much, I would be a fan of the SMT. But the update release came with a big serving of reality, and the SMT turned out to be quite different than what I had expected. I'll start with the weapon system since that is the highlight of this plane and by far its strongest asset. And there aren't really any surprises on this end. I think it's pretty safe to say this is the best weapon system on any plane in the game, full stop. The biggest new feature is the shiny new R-73, which we get to finally see on a proper jet at top tier paired with an HMD. I think these missiles have been changed like 5 times in the past 30 days, but the release version we ended up getting is, I think, in a pretty good spot. It's not too powerful, it doesn't feel unfair to go up against, but at the same time it is without a doubt one of the best IR missiles in the game. Is it better than the 9M? I'm not entirely sure yet. I know some people have been saying it is, but in my personal experience, I've been having better luck with the 9M. I don't think I have enough experience with either of them yet to draw any solid conclusions though. Then for your inner pylons you get R-27s, and the ER continues to be insanely strong. It still blows every other radar missile out of the water, and you can still get at least 1 kill every game with these things if you take good launches. They're just consistently amazing, and if you do your part to set them up for success with the right launch, they will almost always net you a kill. But we've had ERs for a while, so most of my time in the SMT was spent with ETs on the inner pylons because I was really eager to try these out. And as expected, they're fantastic too. I did start using them at medium to longer ranges a little bit to try to use their reach, and I was picking up some kills that way, which was really satisfying. They're pretty flare resistant, but they're still not too difficult to flare if you react in time, especially from longer ranges, so I was finding better consistency with the ER. But I really don't think you can go wrong with any missile loadout on this jet. If you're having success with ERs, or if you're having success with ETs, or hell, if you prefer R-73s, I don't think there's any incorrect choice of missile here. So no surprises when it comes to firepower. What kinda shocked me was the flight performance. Now, I knew the SMT would be considerably heavier and fatter than the MiG-29s I was used to, and I didn't expect it to be able to compete with the F-16 in the fight. So I lined up my expectations with just fatter MiG-29, and I figured the airframe would probably be good enough to do what I needed it to do. What ended up happening is we got an airframe that handles like a fat bitch on ice trying to figure skate. Once you get below Mach 0.85, if you do any amount of serious turning, you can just say goodbye to your speed completely. This jet honestly feels more like a Delta Wing or a Phantom than a MiG-29 to me. I've definitely been adjusting, I've been trying to learn and figure this thing out and adapt my playstyle to cope with it, but it's really quite a jarring difference going from the MiG-29-912 of last patch to this thing. The flight model is sort of an inconvenience in the early game you can get around, but in the late game, if you have to do any 1v1s with something like an F-16, you better hope you can kill him before the merge because the F-16 absolutely smokes this thing. And the flight model also severely hampers the SMT's ability to defensive fly, so if you've got to go defensive, you're just going to lose all your speed. On top of that, you only get 60 countermeasures, which is enough to survive the entire game, but if you want to bring chaff, that's only 15 pops, which I find just wasn't cutting it with 16v16 and everyone slinging these new IR missiles with IRCCM. So after running out of countermeasures a few times on mixed, I switched to flare only. So first impression of the SMT, the weapons are so much fun to use, but the airframe is a lot worse than I was expecting, and I wasn't expecting it to be good. It was kind of a night and day difference going from the SMT to the F-16C and F-16D, which I'll talk about in the next video, but as of a few days into the patch, I'm definitely having way more fun in the F-16C than I am in this thing. But the SMT is still a really strong plane. The missiles are a blast to use, and I don't want to give off the impression that I think the plane is weak or anything. It's just that in its current state, it's not the jet for me, despite going into this patch expecting it to be my favorite jet for the next month or two. You might share a different opinion. For those of you who have played the F-16C and SMT, let me know which one you're vibing with so far. Come hang out on Discord, and thanks for watching.